Now y'all may be asking yourselves, are old calls any good? Here on Getting It Outdoors. What is up, y'all? Today I have a couple of calls here. These are actually very old calls. Um, Now y'all may be asking yourselves, are old calls any good? Well, there's a few things between old calls and new calls, and there's a reason why people back in the day, you know, some of the best callers in the country, they sounded like ducks. And granted, people killed ducks, but back then, some people really sounded like ducks, but 70s, 80s, 60s, you really didn't have to use or sound great on a call to kill ducks because there was just an absolute abundance of them compared to today. One of my places that I hunted last year called Hovey Lake, that is in Indiana. If y'all want to hunt there, go ahead. Don't suggest it. It's not great. Killed 3 ducks the whole season. Don't do it. If y'all want to, maybe y'all are better. Are old calls any good? That is the question of the video. What I have here is a old Sure Shot. This is the Duck 500, and it is a double reed wooden call, and this is the softest, quietest call I've ever heard in my entire life. That is one thing about old duck calls. They are very quiet. If you get new reeds from them, they can probably sound better, make new reeds, something like that. But old calls with original reeds are super quiet, and you have to learn how to blow them in a specific way for them to work correctly. That's why back in the day when people were killing bunches of ducks, really good guys sounded like ducks, and the people who'd get some ducks but wouldn't kill a bunch of them didn't practice as much as they should. But the hardcore duck hunters back in the day, like my great granddad, my nana always tells me that he would sit in the basement for hours upon hours practicing with his duck call. He had vinyls of duck sounds. He had vinyls of how to sound like a duck on a duck call. He was absolutely obsessed with duck hunting. This one I got from my granddad a few months ago, actually, and I took it duck hunting, and 2 of the ducks that I killed with on Hovey Lake was with this call. It was actually 2 teal, and they just buzzed over our heads real quick, and I just reached down on my lanyard, picked the call up real quick, and just hit them with a couple quack, 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 and they swooped right back around. So in those days, it was early season. They hadn't heard a lot of calling yet. So this kind of really piqued their interest. Late season could be a great thing as well. But I'll give y'all a quick rundown of this call real quick, and y'all can hear just how quiet it is. As y'all heard, that duck call is very, very quiet. Great for those timber hunts. Great for those, late season hunts on public land that's been pressured all year. This is a great call for that, but it's super quiet. If you're in a highly populated area, they're definitely going to hear those boys off in the distance 150 yards just screaming at the top of their lungs over this one. Now, this is an old goose call that belonged to my great granddad, and it has a extraordinarily short reed, but it is one of the best calls for goose I have ever heard. Um, there is some cons though. You really, really have to know how to blow this call. I'm not even sure what brand it is, but you really, really have to know how to blow this call, because compared to the ones these days that say light pressure, nah, you aren't barely saying anything into this call, barely putting pressure on this call whenever you're making noises. But when you can get it to sound right, it sounds fantastic. It sounds better than my $50 call. Well, I'll give y'all a quick rundown on this call right here. I'm going to sound like trash because I don't know how to blow this call real good. Like I said, this call sounds great when you can blow it correctly. But other than that, if you're not blowing this call perfectly, it's just, it doesn't sound good. And it's, if you don't know how to blow this call, don't take it on your hunt. It's just, it won't work out. But to answer the main question of this video, are old duck calls any good? Old waterfowl calls, old duck calls, you know. The answer, the short answer, yes. The long answer, yes and no. Yes, because they still sound good after all that time. They're still usable. They still look good. And if you take one out, the old fellas are going to love you. The long answer is no. Because if you're hunting a highly pressured area with this call right here, you're probably not going to get heard. You're probably not going to kill as many ducks, and it takes an extraordinary amount of practice to get this call to sound right. Know with this one as well, it takes lot of practice to get this to sound right. I've had this call since December and I still can't get it to sound 100% right. It sounds good when you can get it to sound right, but it doesn't sound great unless you can blow it great. And I'm sure my great granddad could have made this sound like a million geese. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you would, please check out my Instagram. I will leave a link in the description below. And once again, if y'all like the video, like, subscribe, and comment. Helps me out a lot. Especially if you hit a like, especially if you comment. Helps get things rolling and helps get my content out there to more people. So, with that being said, I will see y'all in the next one.